Good morning. Who is ready for a Power 30? I am super pumped. So, Lisa had reached out and she asked me to do Power 30 one day. And we worked with the schedule and figured out what day worked. And like that, I was like, I know what I want to talk about. And really, why it clicked for me was because I was like, this is something that I need to get vulnerable about, and something that I feel that needs to be shared, especially because oftentimes we see someone who's having success and we play the compare game and it stops us in our track. And that's just another form of an excuse, right? Because realistically, a lot of people don't really know about the season that I'm currently in right now. Not that it's something that needs to be shared. Like, you don't need to know everyone's season to compare, but I feel like being vulnerable and putting this out there and really just talking about when life gets messy, right? How do we keep momentum when life gets messy? So, messy for me right now is a surgical season. Messy that's coming forward for all of us is the holiday season. So, we are going to get into all of those things, right? So, this season has been incredibly tough for me. Some days I feel literally crippled by just pain because it comes and goes in waves, from having surgery. I also get stopped dead in my tracks just because of like my own feelings of how I'm showing up, how I normally show up, and what that looks like now as far as what I'm able to do and not able to do, and being extremely humbled by being in this season of having to stop and literally ask for help for everything. Lisa told me my hair looked good this morning, you guys. My husband has to wash my hair when I want it like actually clean. Okay. I cannot move my shoulder at all. So if that's any indication to the amount of things throughout a day that I have to stop and not only ask for help, but accept help, right? Flip that into the business side of things. And there's times, that you have to stop and accept the help, right? So between that this season and then another full transparency moment is next month in a couple weeks is the 1 year anniversary of my son's second brain surgery. So this season for me coming into the holidays looks a whole lot different because last year at this time things felt normal and we were moving into the holiday season, and then everything just got really crazy, right? So this season doesn't feel the same for me because there's PTSD and triggering moments that literally I just don't want to show up, right? So um here's the thing, we're moving with momentum through the messy seasons. So, whether it's the holidays, whether it's real life that stops you in your tracks and you physically cannot show up the same that you do every day. Like, if you listen to a lady yesterday and we're not like being like, hey, yeah, like, way to go, half ass it, right? Like, I want you to half ass it. So, my thought on that, which I was like pumped for that yesterday and to hear that message, I learned that showing up 100% doesn't mean perfection. 100% is 100% of whatever you have that day. So if you've got 50% in the tank, because today is different, right? And you're in your feels, you got 50% in your tank today, then you give all 50% because that 50% is your full effort for today. So you're still not half assing it. So don't cut yourself short. But even when I'm struggling, the open sign is on, right? My customers know I'm here. My team knows that I'm here. And that's what matters. It's your presence, not perfection. Um, so we are my whole thought with this was really just taking it in like real life. There's some things that'll stop you in your tracks and make you think, you know what, like I absolutely can't. And then there's things, you guys, like the holiday excuses. So with the holidays comes excuses. And I just want to stop those like right now before they even fall out of the closet with all the Christmas decorations, because I like to call BS on the excuses before they start because it's literally who I am. And I am a tough love kind of person. So if you have goals that are bigger than where you are right now today, then you can't do the same thing that you did yesterday. It's not going to work. And you can't start making the excuses now because the holidays are not going to give you a pass. They give you an opportunity to lead differently. So the momentum is not about perfection, it's about presence, right? So if you're not showing up, your business sign is not on, your lights are not on, your neon flasher open sign is not on, okay? So when I was recovering, I couldn't do everything. but like still, I still can't do everything, but I can still do something. So the same goes for the holidays. You might not have your full schedule. Things might be packed. You have like Christmas programs at the school and you have things that you're volunteering for and things show up, but you have to show up intentionally. So you have to post, connect, check in, and tell your audience and tell your customers that your doors are open. Because if you go quiet, people are going to assume you shut down. And the momentum for January is built now. So if you disappear now, in January your business is going to be closed. You don't even have to worry about flicking that light on. So the holiday excuse trap and the truth about your priorities, right? Um, it's too busy right now. I'll get back to it after the holidays. I'm just going to take a break until January because everybody's busy anyway. Nobody's spending right now, right? Okay. So last one for sure, totally false. People are absolutely spending this time of year. In fact, they're spending more. They're buying gifts, treats, decorations, experiences. They're investing in things that make them feel better, look better, and live better. So if you don't get to decide for them what they will or won't spend their money on, that's none of your business. That's also not your job. Your job is to show up and remind them that you have something that adds value to their life. So I've heard it already. It's a really hard season. Like the government things, right? Which I'm not getting into, but people aren't spending because they're scared of the government. Is that something people are telling you, or is that something you're telling yourself because you're stopping having those conversations? Because it's another excuse, another excuse. Okay. So when you go silent, they don't stop spending. They just stop spending with you. So and then when we're talking about the momentum in the busy seasons and being busy, and there's always something on the schedule. So here's here's your truth bomb and your little bit of tough love, right? Holiday season. You don't magically like you've got time to bake 6 turkeys and 9 pies and a pumpkin roll, but you don't have time for your business, right? Well, you didn't magically get more hours in your day that allow you now to make 6 turkeys and 9 pies and a pumpkin roll because last month you were too busy to fit your business in for 2 hours. And now you spending, a 16-hour shift baking because you created that priority. You made that a priority, right? I'm not saying don't bake and don't spend time with your family, but it's about your priorities. You didn't just magically get more hours in the day to fit in holiday baking and to fit in holiday parties and all of the things. So if you're not prioritizing your business with the same focus, then you have a hobby, not a business. Business owners find a way, and hobbyists find an excuse. Only make 5. Yeah, cut down the turkeys, Don't skimp on the pie, but cut down on the turkeys, right? But you're gonna work around the mess. That's what we do. You naturally do it for the things that you feel you have to do, right? Like you have to show up for this Christmas party and you have to wrap these 10 gifts and you have to bake cookies and you have to do all these other things and you make it work, right? You figure it out because it's just what you do. But if you can't figure that out in your business, then you have a hobby because you're not still scheduling that business time. So life is always going to be messy. And like I feel like I am the product like the poster child for that for the last 2 3 years of my life for sure. So if you want to grow, you've got to learn how to work around the mess. So if you've only got 20 minutes, then you're going to use your 20 minutes intentionally. If you're in the car line, you're going to send a voice message because it's easy and it's quick and because you have that few minutes in the car line. If you're resting on the couch recovering, then you're going to check in with a few customers, between your naps. It's literally what I did, you guys. Progress doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. So even while I was recovering and I couldn't be fully present, my customers still knew that I was there. I might have been in a 3-way chat. It might not have been me always plugging in, but they knew that I was still part of that system and my business was still open. So that brings me to the relationships, which are your business lifeline. So your relationships and your business are everything because while everybody else is distracted by all of the holiday things, you can be the one building trust and plugging in and checking in with your customers and asking how they're doing and celebrating their progress and just asking how you can serve them better, especially through this holiday season. Because what can happen is they have so much going on that their needs might change for what they need from you, right? So if you're plugging in, you're going to know that before things get off track or they feel like something's not working or they get too busy. Like when you literally could have just been the person plugging in with them and giving them a reminder, or setting them, up for success for, what they're forgetting in their regimen or what they might need more of. So these steady touch points and small consistent connections are what keep your business floating when everyone else's dips, right? So people don't stick with products, they're going to stick with people who make them feel seen. So the products may be working and consistently. And then, like I feel like we've all been through this. Like you feel complacent. Like I'm like taking my Vital Biome and I'm like taking it every day. And I'm so used to it that I'm like, I don't really know if this is doing anything. So then I stop for a little bit and all of a sudden I'm like, well, crap, really needed that, right? Because we just get complacent in our own regimen. So imagine they're taking the triplex for a really long time and everything feels normal, but they're not seeing big, huge changes. And you're also not plugging in. So, what are they truly connected to that's going to keep them from being like, you know what, maybe I don't really need this anymore? And that difference is going to be you plugging in and reminding them and sending them tips about the triplex still, right? Because our current loyal customers need to be seen too. Those relationships are the roots that keep your business grounded and will allow it to still grow when everything else might be like, highs and lows and the dips, and you feel like, nothing's not moving or things are moving too fast at the holidays. So you don't have time to, or not, the time you're not like prioritizing, putting the effort into finding all of the new. But if you keep nourishing what you already have, you're going to stay afloat. So even high energy people like me have low moments. So I'm naturally like, I like to bring the energy, I like to bring the fire, I like to bring the hype, I like to have a lot of fun, but even high energy people have low days. So the difference is that you just don't let those moments win. It doesn't mean that some days aren't garbage for me or that some days I don't feel like getting off the couch, or I'm not like stopped in my tracks and just totally in my feelings. But those are things that, you literally just don't let them stop you. So I rest when I need to. I recover, but I don't retreat. I don't quit. I don't not show up. So like I said, your 100% all in can be your 50% capacity, right? Because if that's all you've got in the tank today, but then you're like, well, if I only have got 50% today, so I'm going to give zero, right? Like that's not the way it works. If you've got 50% capacity today and it's lower than your normal, then you're still going to give 100% of that 50%, right? So if the math ain't mathin', you have to look at yourself. So you can honor your hard days without handing them control. So that was big for me. That was really big for me. And a lot of that came from people on my team and sideline sisters and like my husband giving me like hard reminders, that you can rest without quitting. You can slow down without shutting down. And it's okay. And in this busy season, I feel like sometimes we just let the overwhelm win and totally shut our systems down, right? And that is not what's going to move your business forward. And I'm gonna tell you, I was on a call, one of the icon calls with Eric Worre a while back, and it still sticks with me. And anything you look up is gonna tell you, if you're not working your business in November and December, then you are behind the eight ball in January. So this is a winning season, but only if you show up consistently. Um, so the holiday momentum challenge. Are you ready? Are you ready? So, your Power 30 action plan for the season, you are going to make at least one intentional connection every day. Right? So this is even for the I don't have any time and we have 77 Christmas programs and I have to make all of the pies and I have to go Christmas shopping and I have to wrap all of the presents and I'm volunteering, everywhere, which is all great stuff, right? But you are prioritizing that and not getting magical extra hours this holiday season. So if you can find extra holiday magic time for those things that you weren't normally going to fit in your schedule, then there's no excuses for fitting in your business, right? So if you've got 20 minutes, you can make at least one intentional connection every day. So even if you don't get to your full IPA, right? This is your challenge. And you're going to post or show up on your stories to keep your lights on. So that's how you're keeping your lights on. Posting and showing up in your stories, keeping your lights on. And then you are going to follow up with 3 customers. Love on the people that you already have because when the things get too hectic, and you keep that consistent in that relationship, that is going to keep your business afloat. And like Megan was talking about last night, like our customer service, you guys, is like the main thing. Don't forget about the people that are loyal to you, already loving you, and have got you where you're at. And then share something real. So let them see the human behind the hustle, like sling and all, right? Like I literally got on here and I'm like, oh, Lisa complimented my hair. And I'm like, it's because I washed it. Like, like a good wash, not a one hand wash, like a I let my husband help me wash, right? So we just have to be honest and accept the help, when we need it. So the holidays are not
Hey,
a break.
Joey,
Yes.
you froze on that. Can you repeat the last thing you said about share something?
Yep. Sorry, let me
Thanks.
just go back.
Sorry.
No, no, that's okay. Share something real. So you want to let everyone see the human behind the hustle. So that's where we really do also to get into like our just human connection. And I feel like this time of year more than ever, people want to know like that you're not perfect and that you're busy and that you might miss a meeting or a deadline or, forget to wrap a present and be throwing it in gift bag like while you're sitting in the parking lot waiting to go into the event. Like those are the things, right? Because sometimes, like I kind of started at the beginning with sometimes people, will play the compare game with whoever we're surrounded with, right? Whether it be on our team or in our life or in our family or all of the things. And sometimes I really, get stopped in my tracks where I'm like, okay, so maybe, somebody thinks that I can do this so much because I don't work 9 to 5, right? Okay, but I don't work a 9 to 5, but what you don't see is all the extra things that I'm doing, right? So please don't compare yourself to me either. Like, I feel like we should all kind of like have a sign that says that so that everyone knows that all walks of life can do this, right? So what some people, don't know, like I'm doing everything with one arm right now. Mentally, that's a lot in and of itself, right? I don't clock into a 9 to 5, but I do have a disabled sister and a mom who doesn't drive. And I spend a lot of time helping them and doing things with them. And this has limited me there too. So in turn, that like is a whole nother, mental, emotional thing. And I have a large team and I literally am plugged in like every single day. So there's a lot behind the scenes. So comparing that, to, or I don't have little children at home, right? My kids are big, but big kids still cause a lot of stress. And like I said, with, coming up on the 1 year of, Seth's second brain surgery, like it's a lot. So although it might look, because my lights are always on and everyone always sees me over here, sometimes it's kind of looks like the glitz and the glory. And what you don't realize is there is a lot of mess in the momentum, but I choose to show up. And I don't allow it to let me shut down. And even, flipping that not so personal things, I feel like the mess can be your personal things and the mess can be the holidays, right? But when we're looking at the holidays and we're finding the time to bake and do crafts and do all these things that, like yesterday I didn't have 2 hours to work my business, but tomorrow I have, a Christmas party and we're baking cookies and making ornaments and doing all the things, which we should enjoy, right? But you have to stop and retract and think, how did I make time for that? Why was that such a priority? What was the end goal for that? Why did I want to show up for that party? What was so important that I needed to fit that ornament making workshop in today, right? So flip that back to your business, be like, why can I not fit 20 minutes or 2 hours into my business today? What is the end result from that I wanted to achieve? How far am I getting ahead by putting that off to do XYZ, right? So, and it's not just the holiday season, because if you look back a couple months, you were doing the same thing in summer and probably making excuses when we had, I don't know, ball games or tournaments, right? I know for me a big thing with my daughter is tournaments, and that's like a full day thing. So I could go all summer and be like, I don't have time on the weekends because we have, this party and this party and this party and this party, and then it rolls into tournament season. And you know what like we're always making the excuses, but the holidays I feel like are just a quicker excuse because everybody's using them. So the way to be different is not to be like everybody else and break that into like your quick voice message when you're in the car and making sure it's a post and just literally keeping your lights on and your connections with your current customers, because that is going to bring you so much more value, especially this season. So the holidays are not a break from your dreams. They're the time to prove to yourself that you're serious about them. So again, reflect, if your goal for tomorrow is bigger than where you're at today, then you have to do more than you did yesterday. You don't need perfect effort. You just need intentional effort. So as we step into the season, ask yourself, are your lights on? Is your business open? Or do you just have a hobby? And if you have a hobby, that's okay. Everybody needs a hobby. Hobbies can still give us amazing, amazing community and support systems, right? But you have to be honest with yourself, because you definitely don't want to. I want to say, like, discourage yourself from shooting for something or saying you want something that is not a realistic expectation of the work and the priorities that you're willing to set for yourself. So, because your audience is watching, your team is watching, your VIPs are watching, your future self is watching, and I can tell you, people that you don't think are watching to see if your light's on. And a quick story on this. Um, I had a girl, and I just shared this with my team. I was put in a three-way chat with her with a VIP in April or no, March of 2024, and we had a conversation, and then she like totally ghosted me, right? And then April of this year, a separate VIP got me in a chat with her, and kind of the same thing, and then she ghosted us, right? This week she reached out to me personally because she watched and watched and watched both of them fall off and not share anymore, and has followed me and knows that I'm consistent and sees the things that I share, and she became a VIP yesterday. So it might take a really long time. It might be somebody that you've already made a connection with that you've totally forgotten about, or thought. And to be fair, the VIPs that I had in in chats with are like my level ones, level twos, and are people that are not actively doing the business. They were like getting me in chats for referrals and things like that. So that was one of the first things she said. She's like, I don't want to share. I don't want to be connected into a chat, because and I understand, right? We have to understand her point of view as well. As like, okay, so this girl put her in a chat this year, this girl put her in a chat this year, both of which are not doing the things. So for her, she's just like, both of these people kind of shared and then teetered off, and I don't want to do that, right? So we'll let her, like, she's going to create her own testimony. She just doesn't know it yet. But because I'm not going anywhere, my lights were on in 2024 when she saw me, my lights were on earlier this year when she found me again, and my lights were like neon and flashing apparently when she reached out to me this week. So just keep showing up, keep leading, keep your heart in the game, keep asking how you can serve people. And again, especially the people that you already have that are being loyal and supporting you. Because come January, you're either going to be restarting or reaping the rewards of what you planted now. So do not let the excuses win. You have entirely too much purpose for that. So I hope that you heard something that you needed today. I hope that you heard something that you could share with someone today. I absolutely am always honored to get to ask, to speak and show up for all of you. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your Tuesday.